love Chablis. This is a wine that always puts a big smile on my face because of the way that really reacts and is a good companion with so many different dishes and food. So I'm assuming that for this challenge, the 2012 Chablis Grand Cru from Christian Moreau is a wine that's going to be relatively easy for Chef Nicolas Boutin to pair. It has very lovely minerality, great acidity, and maybe hints of stony notes and minerals. All of those flavors come from a very special place. In Chablis Grand Cru, especially the wines that are most sought after, are planted in Camaragian soil, the one with the best south exposure that gives a vibrancy, a length, and a very long finish to the wine. And it's pretty young, only 4 years old, and Grand Cru Chablis can be kept for 10 to 20 years. I love also the fact that Christian Moreau and his family makes this a real enterprise, and the Moreau family has been farming in the region for over 200 years.
Jeannie.
The best way to understand our wine for this mission is by meeting the winemakers. After meeting with some of the Michelin star chefs in Paris and some of Nicolas' friends, we decided to visit Burgundy to meet the people producing our wines. The most famous wines produced in Burgundy are red wines made from Pinot Noir and white wines made from Chardonnay. As it is further north than the rest of Burgundy, Chablis white wines are subtly different in style, being a touch more austere with a beautiful and fresh minerality. All 7 Grand Cru climats run along the slope of the right bank of the Seine River, overlooking the town of Chablis. We're here to visit a Grand Cru vineyard. Christian Moreau, 5th generation winemaker, will show us their vineyards located in the heart of Chablis. The viticulture here has become completely organic, and his son, Fabien Moreau, has now taken over. This vineyard basically is situated on the slope like all the vineyards around this region, but this particular faces the south side, meaning it gets more exposure from the sun and yielding better quality grapes. And on top of that, the vines here are all actually around 45 to 60-year-old vines. It produces less grapes, but it does produce really good quality grapes, and hence, really good quality wines. Still tasty.
We are lucky today to be in one of the domain Moreau. We have Fabien the son. Is going to explain about the wine today. I'm sure I will get a lot of information I can use as well from my recipe I have to do.
There is 7 different Grand Cru in Chablis, 7 different locations, parcels, climate, and so 7 different kind of wines. Okay. So I just want to show you. Maybe we start with the Grand Cru Valmur.
At the same time, you open the bottle. I'm always interesting because you are the winemaker. You know perfectly your wine. So obviously, for me as a chef, I'm interesting to know, like since many years, anything interesting you could pair with the wine himself.
Yes. Yeah, sure. With the original view for Chablis, it's always most of people thinking for Chablis oyster.
Okay.
Oyster,
All right.
which is with lots of iod, lots of minerality and freshness, which match very well with Chablis wine. But after oyster, it will be perfect with just a Chablis village, which is entry level.
Okay, right.
Simple, something on the fruit, fresh, but maybe not so much complexity because the oyster is quite strong.
Okay.
So when you move to Premier Cru and Grand Cru, you move to something maybe more complex.
So if you talk about Les Clos, the one you have been selected, the 2012.
Yeah, but it will be perfect with scallops.
Oh, scallops, that's good,
strong,
because it will be the season.
Yeah, exactly, the scallops.
Yeah.
Scallops, something with fish with just à la plancha, not too much sauces, spicy sauces, because with Chablis wine it's a bit too strong.
Okay.
And after you could also, with like Les Clos 12, we're starting to have some aging. Think about cheese also, which is very nice. Not really thinking for white for cheese,
but
but
more and more.
But
and
more
definitely
and more,
that's what we do as well in restaurants. Yes. So, Fabien, I see some stone right there.
Yes.
So, what is that?
I think it's the secret of Chablis. That makes Chablis unique. It's
So
the
it won't
soil.
be a secret anymore.
Yeah, it's not me. It's unique. It's the soil which is unique because this kind of fleetness, minerality really come from that. So what is it? The Chablis soil. It's very scientific name. It's chiméridien. It's not a very nice name, but it's chiméridien, which means the soil. It's a mix between the clay and limestone, but with really specific limestone. You could see some oyster shell fossa inside.
Okay.
That's why people think oyster with Chablis. It's quite easy to understand. It's because plenty full of oyster. Centuries ago in Chablis, it was just recovered by the sea.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And when the sea is retired, it let us. This kind of
it's not the one
fossa.
came from Marine d'Oléron lately, no.
Because in Chablis, there is 7 different Grand Cru. Valmure, it's one of those 7, which is what's the difference between Clos and Valmure. Valmure had more southeast exposition, or had more the sunrise.
Okay.
Not so warm compared to Les Clos, who really face south. 100% south exposition.
Do you have anyone is your favorite?
That's always a good question. They are all good, of course. No, if you ask me what is the one who give you really an idea of what is the Grand Cru from Chablis, I will choose maybe Les Clos.
Okay.
Because it's give really a good representation of the potential, for aging potential, and also this kind of minerality and freshness.
Okay. So that's Les Clos in
Les Clos.
2014.
Yeah, same vintage, but in Les Clos.
So
Les Clos, it's a bit more. Valmure had much more clay in this soil, and the clay to the wine give more body and richness. So it's quite big at the beginning, but with a good acidity at the end. Les Clos don't have this kind of clay, so it's more linear, but very long aftertaste, very fresh at the end. So the acidity had to have a long finish.
Ouais, c'est ça, il y a une longueur en bouche.
Voilà.
Long finish.
Valmure, it's more powerful wine,
but
maybe shorter in the palate, but Les Clos, it's.
No, that's what I like in wine, usually especially for white wine, when it's a long finish like this, even better, yes.
Supposed to be the king of Chablis.
Wow.
Because it was almost the first vineyard planted in Chablis.
So it's a good selection you have been done with Jeannie from
Very good
nice.
advice.
Very good one.
So Les Clos, it's also the most well known because first vineyard planted in Chablis. It's the largest Grand Cru in Chablis. It's nearly 24% of all the Grand Cru.
Okay.
And also the only one to have this sauce exposition, so it gives some good maturity and good complexity.
To get more inspiration for pairing the wine with a unique dish, the locals suggested that I visit a restaurant in town of Chablis where I found one of the selected wine. Japanese chef Ryo Nagahama is combining the Oriental flavors with French cuisine, and his dishes work very well with the Chablis wine. For this food and wine pairing, he created a salmon dish with watercress sauce. He worked with a small local producer, even talking about which rum he wants, so the producer will grow it in the coming season. This dish is subtle yet satisfying with a touch of Japanese influence. Et là, c'est quoi comme cuisine
C'est un bistrot, mais...
Des souvenirs
de
cuisine, j'en sais rien.
C'est deux restaurants vraiment différents.
Voilà. You actually, worked before in Robuchon in Paris for many years, and then he find a business partner, a friend, and decide to come in Burgundy in Chablis. And they are now about 2 years and a half. He's there. He's very happy there. And today about the recipe, about the salmon, we have the beautiful salmon marinated with the watercress and all this radish pickle. He said like the wine, the fact again is a lot of acidity. The wine brings some richness and minerality on the dish, so a very nice balance with the dish and the wine.
We have first a 2012, this is a Domaine Christian Moreau. It's a Chablis Grand Cru, Les Clos. It always has that intense minerality and this longevity. And no one thinks that Chablis can last as long as the greatest red wines, but from Les Clos, 30, 40 years is not a problem. So Eric, you're from the Burgundy region. Have you spent time in Chablis?
Not in this region, but I like very much this wine. It's a very round wine with a mild approach, but after a strong taste behind and a long taste in mouth, and very, very pleasant.
So we're very curious as to what chef is going to prepare with this dish. Selena, do you have any hints or ideas for us?
I'm not sure, but the restaurant that Christian Moreau took us to is, of course, it's a French cuisine, but it's Japanese. He's a Japanese chef, so there's a Japanese touch to it, and everything was just so refreshing. It was perfect portion, and then after you eat it, you just feel like you want more. We were all very impressed by the dishes.
Pairing.
Yeah, so we'll see.
When I teach my classes about wine and Chablis, I always describe Chablis as being minerally, and many Chinese, many Asian people don't know what that means. I always ask them to imagine having Japanese seaweed, the soft, dark green type of seaweed that kind of reminds you of the sea, but also has a kind of saltiness in the finish, and they really understand that.
Voici, voilà. Voilà.
Oh, so Nicholas, I mean, we have been waiting anxiously to see what you're going to pair with this amazing Chablis.
So tonight, you have with the Chablis, it's oysters. Oyster from David Hervé, actually, because we went with Selena in the market in Bastille. And actually the oyster we use here already. So I said that could be, and with what wine? We don't have, usually it's more like a Sauvignon, a bit more dry, but I think it was interesting to use more Chardonnay this time, again with Burgundy, to try to make it pairing with the oysters.
There's some other ingredients on top.
So what I love oysters, actually we make a thin jelly of the oyster water with some black pepper and lemon. For me, black pepper and lemon, I love black pepper on top of that. I think it fit completely and give the peps for the oysters. Of course, the lemon will help as well. And then the leaves in the oyster leaves. So you have reinforced a bit the taste of that. Again, because this one is not a strong oysters like the film de clear you can have, less salty as well. And to make it a bit more a pure touch and something I like to bring the ocean with the earth, it's the beef andouillette.
The fact that the oyster is not too salty, not too much iodized, makes it go very well with the wine.
Yes.
Because both are very smooth.
The oyster is very creamy, and then the Chablis is very refreshing, and then so it's a really good match.
For me, the pairing was really perfect because you have a wine which is a kind of, I would say, wild wine, you know, with much ampleur, we would say in France. And with this oysters prepared like that, it's with some mild taste, and it's not could be acid or be salty or it's not the case there. It's very mild, and the puree on it give it more softened taste. So the wine and the oysters go perfectly. It's you have a great impression of you find the sea, you find the turf through the andouillette, and the two match perfectly. I would give a 10 out of 10.
Wow, that's a perfect score.
Great.
Selena, what about you?
I would agree. I think 10 would definitely be my score as well, because I feel like, you know, having the oyster, of course, you know, there's a lot of spices and like little small touches for the food. But after I eat the oyster and drinking the wine, I feel like the taste of the oyster is like extended. I don't know, I just feel like I can taste the oyster in the wine, kind of like, yeah, so I feel like it's kind of like blended together and it pairs perfectly, yeah.
I think that's such a great description, that the wine accentuated the oysters. I felt exactly the same way. So I would also give it 10 out of 10.
Wow.
So we're unanimous. This was a perfect pairing.